So we work with
Butler or somebody, keep doing up and put in. It's falling down. I did my door.
Dude, I didn't get confused about invoicing for the event. With the event?
Yeah. Send me a list,
Does it well? Okay.
yeah, he sent me a list of, the food.
So I have sent the club an invoice. I'll put that to you. So there's gonna be two invoices. One that's gonna be from the venue. Also that we get $150 for the event. And then my invoice.
Okay, I was gonna say, that's not what it says. Okay. Right. Okay, so do I hold about you check?
No, because you cut off.
Okay, I just didn't wanna. Yeah, and.
I'll email it. Yeah, I'll email it to you. And then I know we don't meet next week, we'll meet the week after.
Yeah.
I'll get it. Jill said, hey, did you send that invoice? I'm like,
Take the stage.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
We have.
I take it, Tim's not here today?
Yeah.
Go.
I've done it for.
Get after it, man.
Yeah, it was good time. Okay.
Actually, I feel lonely, man. Like I want to be hanging out with everybody.
Looking at the back. Turn around and leave that too.
Yeah.
That sound usually means it's a call to order. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Your president-elect for 2025-2026, Rahul Sharma, at the podium today. Thank you. Thank you. Thankful to my brothers and sisters that are here today as we all rise to begin the 21st May edition of the weekly Rotary meeting here at beautiful Timaquana Country Club. Certainly standing in for current President Tim Johnson, who is on assignment in Denver, Colorado. So we certainly want to wish President Tim safe travels upon his return to Jacksonville. I'd also like to take this time to welcome those that are watching Rotary via the live stream on the Rotary teleconference that is powered by Carter Rosenblum. And so I think what's necessary as a programming note is to adjust your volume settings. And if there's any interest of submitting questions or comments throughout the telecast, please send those in the chat. In just a couple of moments, I'm going to ask Big Mike Crumpler, to come up to the podium to lead our club in the Pledge of Allegiance. But first, Ed Pratt Daniels, who's going to bless our meeting with today's invocation. Ed.
Thank you. Please join me in prayer. Lord, we thank you for this day and for your many blessings of friends, family, material blessings, and freedoms. Help us to have hearts of gratitude. We ask for your guidance as we seek to serve you and our neighbors through Rotary and in our lives. Thank you now for this food and for those who prepared. Amen. Amen. Help us have gratitude to the greatest nation on earth. I pledge
allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ed Pratt Daniels, for that wonderful blessing, and Mike Crumpler in leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. This segment here, pop-ups, what I refer to typically as news and notes. Before I get to that, a special expression of gratitude to our Rotary Club of West Jacksonville greeters today. Give it up for guys like Chris Champagne, Carl Dawson, and one really special lady, Emily Butler, as well. Chris Champagne, a prized recruit, Carl Dawson, so he's certainly getting reps at the entrance door, welcoming Rotarians each and every week. We appreciate the entire crew helping us out there. A couple of notes, there's no lunch meeting next week, and that's in large part because of our remembrance for Memorial Day. I know it's custom for families, friends to enjoy a long holiday weekend and vacation and to get ready for the start of the summer season. But our club, for me, has taught me a lot about the importance of service and the importance of service as well in serving our country. Fallen heroes, men and women, taking the time to reflect on their ultimate sacrifice is the true meaning of Memorial Day. And so that's the reason we're not going to meet. The board of directors will certainly meet, but taking a moment to remember those on Memorial Day next week. Also, our area governor, past President Ike Sherlock, shared with me the importance of the district conference. Last year, I was invited to moderate an unbelievable day of programming and activities that really reinforced the mission and importance of Rotary. Powerful storytelling, testimonials. This year, the district conference on June 6th and 7th in Daytona Beach. For more information, please visit that DB. Perhaps one of my favorite segments here at West Jacksonville is when we have the opportunity to award new members who have completed a specific set of requirements demonstrating their commitment to Rotary principles. At this time, I would like to ask Emily Butler and Tanner Lee to join me at the head of the ballroom as we celebrate a very important promotion within our club. Emily Butler, Tanner Lee, come join me up here. Let's give them a round of applause. Tanner, great to see you. Emily, wonderful. You know, this is sort of the exchange that we talk about. There's a practice roster, with an active roster of Rotarians. You all have demonstrated a commitment. Emily, I have always shared with you that it's in your gene pool, young lady, of the DNA that you have acquired from your wonderful parents. And so, Tanner, Emily, we would like to present you with these well-deserved active member Rotarian badges as members of West Jacksonville. Have a round of applause to Emily and Tanner. Now, as part of this presentation, a standing ovation for these two. Congratulations. We're excited to have you. This is a long-term contract. This is not a seasonal contract. As part of the deal, Emily, if you could please present me with your red badge in exchange. We will put this in retirement. Tanner, I'll take your red badge as well. The red shirts have been lifted. Tanner, Emily, official members of Rotary West Jacksonville. Another round of applause. Well done. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You can tell that they were ready to stand here all meeting for some additional photo opportunities. The flash bulbs were going off. Congratulations to them. You know, past President Jimmy Kelly, each meeting takes time in sharing with us about the importance of family and friends. Jimmy, before I give you the segment, we've been holding your family and our thoughts and prayers with purpose. I would say that you've been battle tested, your wife and daughter. And I think the resilience that you have demonstrated week after week is a lesson for all of us. And so I'd like to set the stage for you to share today's Family of Rotary report. Jimmy Kelly.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have some birthdays for the month of May. I'll read some of them again. I didn't realize Patty sent me all of them, and I tossed my sheet away. So, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, Marshall Butler. May 6th, Cecil Gibson. May the 7th, Bill Andrews. May 7th, Jay Hemmerlife. May 8th, pick Mike Crumple up here. Also on the 8th, Tim Alters. May 16th, Carter Rosenblum. May 17th, Doug Melanie. May 18th, Cedric Gibson. Does anybody know Cedric Gibson? I don't, do you? I don't ever remember seeing you here. Yeah, okay. He paid his dues, that's okay. May the 20th, Terry Green. May the 20th, AJ Alvilas, is that come close? And May 26th, our president, Tim Johnson. Welcome them all, and happy birthday.
Jimmy, thank you. Before I continue, I see a hand that's up. If Katie Quackenbush could take a microphone over to the back table, and Mike Crumpler wanted to share an announcement, it seems. Katie, thank you for sharing the mic with Mike Crumpler.
President-elect Raoul, past president, Jim, I can't help it. Every time I hear my birthday mentioned, I think of Dr. Tim Dyer. Tim Dyer was a long time member of this club and orthopedic surgeon at St. Vincent's. Just touches my heart. For all you who are going to be in this club for a long time, you have had close friends. It's your birthday. Dr. Dyer and I, so it just brings that fond memory of Dave Dyer and all past times that we spent together. Good bunch.
Mike, thank you for sharing that reflection. That's really important.
Yeah.
And we continue to exist today because of people from the past. And so thank you for sharing that. It's interesting, when we put the deal together for Sergeant at Arms next year, Katie Quackenbush's contract included a Sergeant at Arms designate, basically a trial period for the springtime. Let me say this, the traits and characteristics that she exhibits for our club, which started during her childhood, she has done an excellent job, and I'd like to bring up Katie Quackenbush for the introduction of guests and visiting Rotarians. Katie.
Johnny Lowe, you have a death bill? Yes. Would you like to be addressed?
Thank you, Katie. And we'll lift the conditions on that designated this summer. Looking forward to working with Katie. She's great. We're doing great on time, and I really want to also take a moment to say thank you to the likes of Stu Erlin and Patty Chapman. You might remember a couple of years ago in Rotary, I would refer to Stu and Patty as Rotary Air Traffic Control Tower to ensure the safe landing and departure of Rotarians, and they've done a really great job, and I appreciate them for keeping me organized in officiating today's meeting. This all leads to the next segment, our featured speaker. Now, Ed Lombard is on the script. Big Money Ed loves the attention. He loves to take the stage. But I've also prepared a wonderful introduction for our guest speaker, so maybe it could be a split deal, 50-50, or would you like to allow me to do the... It's all me. Okay. I want to thank Ed for allowing me to introduce our guest speaker today. I also want to thank up front Ike Sherlock, past president, area governor. As we were looking at a real deep pool of speaker candidates, he introduced our cabinet to Dr. Justin Dorenzo. Sharma, he is a friend. Justin's a professional speaker, Ike said. He's going to kill it for you. That was Ike Sherlock's scouting report of today's speaker. And so, Ike, please accept our sincere thank you. And I'll be sure to add some more colored commentary about Dr. Dorenzo. You know, we're working through pre-production and determining the right speaker. The main elements that we're always looking for are the right topic, what's relevant, and how can the presentation be applied as part of our daily lives. We came to a healthy work-life balance being crucial for both individual well-being and the health of marriage. In Rotary, we strive not to neglect personal life. It's one of the reasons why we build in segments each meeting and bring to you the Family of Rotary report. And that's where Dr. Justin Dorenzo comes in. A forensic and board-certified clinical psychologist, he's highly regarded. Former active duty in the U.S. Navy. Justin, thank you for all that you've done for our country. Whether you're prioritizing and setting boundaries, making time for quality time, supporting one another as members, or even seeking professional help, Justin is first and foremost centered on the person, and that's the center of his attention. But he also schedules regular time, quality time with his partner and wife, Erica, and their 4 children. And not to mention, 1 German Shepherd, 1 Dorky, and 1 Newfie as well. Everything considered, Justin Dorenzo never stops learning. An education journey which spans nearly half of his life, clinical psychology studies at Nova Southeastern, and residency as part of the Joint Task Force in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and Pensacola Naval Hospital. And you combine that with more than 20 years of experience in behavioral health in both the military and civilian sectors. Dr. Dorenzo is dedicated to putting in hard work, and that's the kind of longevity and commitment we appreciate here in Rotary, West Jacksonville. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest speaker today, Dr. Justin Dorenzo.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm also a former Rotarian. I was part of the PV Rotary back in 2008, 2009. And I think this is my 3rd run through this group presenting. So, when I was in the Navy, I was a terrorist psychologist in Guantanamo Bay. Cuba in 2005 and 2006. And I think I met with this group when it was met on Commonwealth at a hotel. And it was the same group. So, and then I spoke during COVID doing a virtual meeting with you guys, and was about 10 of you that participated. And it was really, and this book was in its infancy that I'm going to talk about today. So, you guys, thank you again for helping me. Ike, thank you. Raul, I don't know if I'm as articulate as, it's like this. Never a mistake. So, okay, so I wrote a book about relationships because I wanted to help people no longer fumble and make terrible mistakes. Okay, and as a psychologist, I have three groups of people that really motivated me to write this book. The first group are the custody cases that I have. So I'm a forensic psychologist also to help the court make determinations about where kids go. And I was like doing these autopsies on these families where this couple, they were once deeply in love, right? And now they actually wanted to kill one another, right? And then, of course, the other group are the people that come for couples therapy. And I'm looking across the room and I'm thinking, what in the hell are they doing together? Right? These people don't belong together. Sometimes they do, but often they don't. And then the other group were people that come to see me individually. And, they're always focusing on what they want, right? Somebody that's so attractive or tall, dark and handsome and rich. But nobody's ever focusing on what they need to be working on to find that successful relationship. So I basically went into all the science to see what makes a relationship work, like what gives somebody value in a relationship, like what are people looking for, and then why do certain relationships make it? And I found all this compatibility research as well as mate value research and the evolutionary psychology literature. And you guys, so I have two book covers. One is How Not to F Up Your Life. That's, for you to buy yourself. And then How Not to Ruin Your Life is for your mother to buy. But the content is the same. Okay? A pure marketing scheme. So let's talk about evolutionary theory. We've all heard of Charles Darwin. Okay, there's another name that I want, and he came up with, really the founder or who we know when we're talking about evolution. But there's a guy named David Buss at the University of Texas in Austin, who's really the father of psychological evolutionary theory. And he looks at all types of sexual selection and competition within genders, as well as different preferences that other genders have, and all these things that have evolved over time. Now, evolutionary psychology and biology are certainly controversial because in a time when we're focusing on how we're all the same, they focus on all the differences, okay? So some people don't like the topic. There's lots of disagreement about it, but there's been lots of studies and a very recent study looking at themes about what men are looking for and what women are looking for across 40 countries, okay? And generally, there's an exchange for, men are looking for attractiveness, which is a sign of fertility, and women typically are looking for resources, status, and things like that, and that often comes with age or the ability to have resources. Okay, now not always the case. Okay, there's a lot of differences within our similarities, but I'm going to get into that. Now, the interesting thing is when we look at countries that are more egalitarian, so like Scandinavia, Canada, that theme still persists, but the age gap closes. Like in Canada, it's usually about a year difference in age, and in Scandinavia. In America, it's in the United States, it's 3 years. In the Middle East, it's like 11 to 18 years. Okay, so really depends upon the nature of the society, but generally there's still that thing. And I want you guys to think of when it comes to evolution, there are all types of things that have evolved that are really out of our control, things that we don't think about. And we call these silent signals. So it's like what's attractive and what somebody's status is. And a lot of these things get exhibited through our behavior, through our genetics, through different circuits of how we think that really have evolved over time and they're automatic and don't need to be programmed. Okay. So I'm giving a book away. I got a question. I want to know, and Mr. Sherlock, you cannot answer this question because I know you know the answer to this. Which body part is most important for communication? No. The ears? Somebody ears? Ears. Okay. Or hands? No. You guys go south. Over. South. Feet. The feet. Who said that? Okay. You want the F one or the ruin one? Which one? Come and see me at the end. I'll sign a book for you. Okay. So you guys, the feet are the most important. Most people say the eyes. So my feet tell you if I'm interested in you and having this conversation. Okay. I'm like bringing you in. If I'm anxious and nervous, I'm crossing. Or I'm like facing the door, I need to get out of here. I want you guys to think about this when you're interacting with people. Your feet are so important, whether you're sitting or you're standing, okay? You can tell your kids, your grandkids, this too, very important. Now, when you look at a group of people, the most dominant person usually has their feet furthest apart. Look at this, Raul. Look at what he's doing. He's like spreading them, okay? It's like the biggest thing. So the feet are very important. Okay, speaking more about silent signals, which eye is more attractive? The one on the left or the one on the right? Who says the one on the left? Who says the one on the right? Okay, so generally speaking, the one on the left is the most attractive. And the reason is because of that black ring. We call that a limbal ring that's around the iris. And it is a sign of health. Like the thicker it is, the darker it is, the healthier you likely are. That's why you're looking at somebody and you're like, ooh, they got amazing eyes, right? It's that limbal ring. Okay, next. All right, so just real quick. So when we talk about, again, we're talking about science and evolutionary psychology and science in general, we're always comparing averages. So I just want to kind of put this out there. Because people always say they always have anecdotal information to argue against what the science says. Okay, because of a principle called overlapping distributions. Okay, so here I have a bell curve of the height of women, 5 feet 5 inches on average. The height of men, 5 feet 10 inches on average. Okay, now there are certainly some taller women. Tall women, but the tallest person is a man, right? And on average, men are taller. And sometimes there are some men that are, shorter than most women in the room. So there are, again, there are differences, or there are, some similarities within our differences, or vice versa. So I just want you to understand that principle. In general, there are differences. Okay, and that's what we look at. Now I have a cognitive map here about circuits. So I want you to think of when we talk about evolution, we have circuits that have evolved, okay, automatically. We don't even have to learn things often. So here we have a fearful input. I want you to think of like spider, snake. We come into this world already knowing that those things are dangerous, okay? And there's a short relay system and a long relay system. So who's been walking or jogging and they jumped over a stick thinking it was a snake, even before they saw it was a snake, right? So our amygdala and our visual thalamus, they process things even before our visual cortex sees it. Like it's all automatic, right? We come into this world already being afraid of those things. Okay, so I just want you to think of that when it comes to all these other principles that are just automatic, that are really out of our control. Any questions about that? Okay, so the relationship landscape, so. You guys remember Tom, Cruise, right? He was madly in love, Mountain on the Couch. Who remembers this? Who was he, maybe he was engaged to? Katie Holmes. Katie Holmes, yeah. How did that work out? He thought it was forever, okay? So 86% of young people think that they're gonna be married for life. Okay, but only 50% of them make it. Still today, 90% of people marry for a formal commitment. And you guys, the dating pool is global. Anybody that has young kids, I mean, they know they're online, or even, people that have been divorced, right? If you're divorced, and 1 in 6 people marry another race. And you guys, love is about a choice today, right? It's not about combining families or economic standing typically. Right? It's not about joining the 2 families. All right, okay, so recent survey, 2024 Gallup poll. 23.1% of Generation Z's, okay, people born 97 to 2006, identify as LGBTQ plus, okay, compared to, I mean, I'm a Generation Xer, that's 5.1%, baby boomers 3.0. So the landscape has definitely changed. But what's interesting is 18% of the LGBTQ community also have kids. Okay, they have kids, and a lot of the kids are of their own genetic makeup. There's still this biological imperative to mate. So, in my theme, in the book, and of course in all the science, I mean, we get together typically on average to have kids, right? So trying to find the perfect partner because you're wired to spread your genes. Okay, so even within the LGBT community, certainly there will be more and more when there's greater access to infertility things and other type of interventions and treatments for people to be able to have kids. Oh, the other thing that I want to say real quick about the LGBTQ community, it also gives researchers an opportunity to evaluate what it looks like when men are, like what men are attracted to when they're not being influenced by society because of women, and then what women are attracted to without being influenced by men. And lesbians are still very concerned about intimacy and connection, okay, emotional intimacy. And gay men are very interested in physical attraction, like teeth, hands, being in shape. So we know those things regardless of what kind of couple those preferences will have. All right, so another thing that I noticed too when I was doing all this research about what makes a relationship work is it's all about fixing it. Like there's not a lot of stuff about the science of how to even find the right person, right? Or how to how to be the right person. So something that's very common is we overestimate similarities during lemon. So who's been in love before? Yeah, thank God. Okay. So when you were first in love, did you feel like you were exactly the same? You were like completing each other's thoughts? Both our moms' names were Jenny. We were both born in the month of November. Right? We were up the same. Okay. And part of that is the wiring too. We grew, 200,000 years ago, we were in a tribe. And when we were in love with somebody, they were just like us. So that still remains. So the problem is people overestimate that too. Okay, it's kind of it's on override, and people make a lot of mistakes. Now, because the people that you're with are really not in your problem. They think differently than you, even though you think that they think just like you. Okay. Most people have relationship problems for 6 years before getting help. You guys believe that? That leads to lots of divorces. It's usually too late when they come for help. All right, so I'm going to talk about 2 individuals that are divorced, but Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, and a study in Carnegie Mellon that said that these people in this research said the same thing. Who you marry determines the rest of your life. It's the most important decision you make, right? They either help you excel or they're a major anchor, right? They stop you. So you need to, we gotta make sure we choose wisely. And another principle, if you want the best, you gotta be the best. And you gotta find somebody that's compatible. Did you have a question? Yes.
What about them? He's separated.
But he remade, but, and then he has a girlfriend. Okay. I stand corrected. He left his wife. Who's joking? Right? We treat people that have money a lot differently too, right? Okay. Another 2 reasons people stay in bad relationships. Yes.
Back up for a second. What is love?
That's a good question. You tell me. What is love? What is love to you? Empathy, connection,
Truth.
sacrifice, right? Yeah. All those things that, I mean, it's a product of two. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is, I mean, it's a release of oxytocin, vasopressin, and serotonin in the gut. I mean, it's real. So, but I'll talk about that. Okay. So you guys, 2 reasons that people stay in bad relationships: the sunk cost fallacy, right? Like, I've invested 5 years. I know this person's going to ask me to marry them, right? I'm hanging in there. I mean, we all know women that waste their 30s, right, with the wrong guy. Who knows a woman in their 30s that's wasting the time with the wrong guy? Anybody? The IKEA effect. If we build something, it has more value to us, right? Even though it's a terrible piece of furniture, we can't let it go. That happens in relationships too. All right. Okay, so you guys, based on all my research, I came up with universal traits. All right, 20 of them that determine mate value. Okay, for both men and for women. And there's a lot of similarities. And I also found 20 traits that determine whether somebody's compatible, whether the couple's compatible or not. And we will hit that soon. All right.
Next slide.
Okay, from this slide regarding evolutionary psychology, I want you guys to understand a concept of epigenetics. And that really means that we all come into the world with lots of options, lots of genes, some turn on, some turn off, and they generate different types of behavior based on my environment. And who has heard of the hookup culture in college and in high school? Anybody heard of the hookup culture? It's like in the news all the time. Like, why are all these kids hooking up? Well, in college, and I have 3 college kids, so it's certainly something that I'm concerned about. But it used to be there were fewer women in college than men. Now there's more women in college. And women's sexual strategy, when there are fewer women and more men, is to hold out, right? To hold out. And then what happens when there are more women and fewer men? Then the women are competing against each other, and they use promiscuity or a short-term strategy to have a long-term mate. And then what happens? The guys are like, I'm not staying with you. I mean, all these girls are trying to hook up with me. Okay. So that's from an evolutionary perspective. That's what we think that is from. So that's epigenetics. Okay. You guys, in terms of compatibility, the most important 2 factors are, this is like what the science said. Political party. I know you're like waiting for something else that's huge, but it's political party and church attendance. Okay, and why is political party so important now? Because your political party determines how you see the world, right? Your values, how you live. And I see it all the time. I have somebody that loves Trump, and then the spouse loves Kamala or Biden. Does that work? It does not, because they're like, I'm disgusted by how you think. How could I be with somebody like you? Okay? Not always, but remember, generally, those relationships don't work. You want somebody with the same political party, and also an agreement in spirituality and religion and church attendance. Now, hear that belief in similarity is more important than actual similarity. So the belief that you're similar to each other is more important than how similar you actually are. So that whole, like, they're in the same tribe as me. And the tribe is not about race, it's about values, how you see the world, how you live. Okay? And the 3 relationship killers, this is what came up over and over again, but described differently: stinginess, laziness, and neuroticism. Okay? Relationship killers. I mean, I see it every day. So, and it can be man lazy or woman lazy. Okay? Both not good. Neuroticism really just means that I'm anxious. I think everything's about me, right? I'm worried all the time. So it can be a relationship killer. Anybody have any questions about this? If you think about from an evolutionary perspective, it's about gaining resources and living and adjusting and adapting. If you're those things, you die. So it's really not that attractive, right? It wouldn't be attractive in the ancestral environment. Yes, sir.
I think being critical of your mate would be a relationship killer.
So I love that you brought that up, because that is the opposite of that is one of my traits. Here we'll talk about kindness. This is what I tell people all the time, though, because these, the women, like, he's got to be 6 feet, right? 6 feet, or I'm not talking to him. And I'm like, have you thought about if he's kind, like if he's preaching nicely? Yeah, it's got to be 6 feet. I'd rather him be 6 feet and handsome and have money. So, and just like, we let people treat us differently, right? That have certain traits as humans first, evolutionary reasons. Okay, so you guys, here are the universal factors, and I'm doing fine. I got like 10 minutes left. Okay. And then I'll open it up for some questions. All right, so the universal mate values, and in my book, I actually have a test based on these 20 factors. So you get to see, like, on a 100-point scale, how valuable you are. And you guys, there's so much controversy even in like when we talk about how valuable somebody is, people get really upset about that too. That's controversial. So you could say, preferences, right? There are preferences. So ambitiousness and industriousness. Women are very attracted in general to ambitiousness. Okay, I'm not saying that men can be attracted to ambitiousness, but in general, ambition. Okay, ambition, very important if you're a guy. Industriousness. This is important for if you're a man or a woman. Okay, men are attracted to women that hustle. Okay, that's a fact, right? Not lazy. Neither gender needs to be lazy. I know there's no lazy people in here. Kindness, there it is. Across countries, kindness makes top of the list, right? You want a kind person, somebody that's full of love and devotion, right? Not critical, right? Criticalness. I don't know if you guys have heard of David Buss before. Not David Buss. John Gottman. Anybody heard of John Gottman? He's a famous psychologist. He did all this research too. And criticalness was called one of the 4 horsemen. So people are critical, and then they're contempt. This is like on the way out the door. You're critical, then you're contempt. Like there's judgment, you're scowling at each other, and then you move into indifference. It's done at that point. So criticalness is on the you're paving the way to ending the relationship. Conscientiousness and reliability. Okay, you want somebody that is reliable. You got to have that. So, so I do a lot of employee testing, okay, psychological testing, and really all you got to worry about is that trait. You just want somebody that's reliable. That's the most important trait. It overshadows everything. Okay, somebody that's conscientious, gets the job done. Secure attachment, popular topic. There's 3 types of attachments. You got avoidant, insecure, and secure attachment. So avoidant are people you try to talk to and have an emotional connection with, and they're running away, right? Insecure, if you're running toward them, they're running away. If they're, if you're avoiding them, they're running toward you. right? Very difficult to be in a relationship with somebody like that. But we want somebody to secure, you gotta have at least one person that's secure. Being free of mental health problems, depression and substance use are the big killers. Okay, if you have a problem, get help. High self-esteem is important to have a good value. The only thing is you don't want to be too confident, because if you're too confident, you will cheat. You'll have narcissistic personality disorder. So you don't want too much confidence. You want to be agreeable. You want to like get along, right? To go along. Okay. So this is a problem. I mean, we all know people that are very disagreeable, right? We may have like dinner plans with somebody and they're arguing, and one of the spouses is very difficult to get along with. Intelligence, commitment, education, and status, or this is just, you want to make sure you're somebody that always wants to grow. Facial symmetry, very important. Here's one of those silent signals. And if you guys look very closely, my eyes are not symmetrical. One is like lower than the other one. Okay. And that could be due to like some parasite that I had, or some, growth challenge that I was having. So symmetry tells us a lot of information about how healthy somebody is. V-shaped torso. Women in general are attracted to men that have V-shaped torsos. Broad shoulders, signifies that I'm going to get a bunch of resources. I'm going to be dominant. Men attracted to women that have a 0.70 waist-hip ratio. This is like the hourglass ratio, or the hourglass shape. Why is that? It's an indicator of fertility. Okay, if it's different, higher or lower, it means there's like some hormonal issues there. Maybe you have some fertility challenges. You got to have a place to live, a job, transportation, extroversion. We like people that are extroverted, okay? But you can't be too extroverted. That's not a good trait to have if you're too extroverted, if you're too extroverted, okay? Openness to experience. We want somebody that likes to try new things. Not too much though, right? Low on neuroticism, so somebody that's very secure. And then we got tall and youth. Those things are attractive. I mean, think about it. Women are wearing high heels, right? Always trying to look tall. Both sexes are always trying to look younger. I mean, why are we doing that? Even though we're not looking to make new babies, right? We're still driven by the same forces. And then humor. Humor is a sign of intelligence too, another sign. So it's important. I mean, it's a highly valuable trait to have. How many funny people are in here? You guys are all look funny to me, right? So compatibility factors. So these are the big traits, or these are the big factors. We want to have secure attachments. And this is great. We're teaching the kids, right? Or even for ourselves, if we're out on the dating market, these are the things that are important. I need to be secure and they need to be secure. Okay. We need to have the same political beliefs, same religious or spiritual beliefs, same educational level. Like, I gotta have somebody that I can talk to. They don't have to have the same degrees, but I gotta talk about work, right? I gotta talk about what I do, what my interests are, and they gotta have something back to come back. Similar age, and not always, right? But on average, it's helpful to have somebody that still sees the world the same way as you. Shared mission and purpose, similar commitment level, agreement about kids, and then similar attractiveness. Like, we've all seen people who are like, how are they together? I'm like, I'm confused, right? And that can lead to these problems. Or there's an exchange. There's some kind of exchange. Okay, like don't you? There's some exchange. Similar socioeconomic status, right? Or at least often we don't start out in the same place, but as long as we get there together, right, and we're able to see the same world and be able to operate similarly. At least one person is cuddly or empathic. Like, you gotta have at least one person that's affectionate in a relationship. If both people are not affectionate, it is like two, ships passing in the night. It will end or just be a desert. Okay. All right, limited number of past sexual partners. I mean, having too many is a sign of promiscuity. It doesn't mean that people can't have their virginity restored, right? Or somebody can't, they were very wild and now they see the world differently. perceive similar personalities, both low on neuroticism, shared hobbies and interests. Having financial, good financial resources or good job prospects. Same birth order, okay? So, a lot of controversy about this, but there's more and more research showing that it's true that, like, if you're a firstborn, you're more attracted to firstborns, you do better with firstborns. If you're the youngest, you do better with the youngest, okay? Because it's about seeing the world the same way. It's really hard when how many people are the oldest and there's an oldest and youngest dynamic. It's not always easy. Do we have anybody that's the same birth order? How many people in the same birth order as their spouse? Okay, so I mean it's a lot for like a room like this when there's so many factors. So birth order can be important. Industriousness and conscientiousness, we talked about that, and then the humor connection. There's usually this connection where one person's like really funny, and then the other person has to understand their humor. Yeah, I mean there's got to be that humor connection. Any questions about these? Yes, ma'am.
A theme that goes through women when they're younger, started dating. I had discussions with my friends about the same time as my daughter has discussions. When women knowingly pick the bad boy, okay, they're finding the face of all of those characteristics.
Yeah.
Why do they do that? Why is this thing?
That's the question.
Well, it used to not be a phase, right? Because we were dead by 40. So it is because of those circuits that are there. We're attracted to risk taking. Okay. Because the bad boys are usually, they're popular risk takers, and they usually have some great traits. They're like great at sports or great at being thieves, great at being drug dealers, but honestly, they're very entrepreneurial. There's a lot of admirable traits that they have, even though they can't be trusted. But it's those circuits, those inborn circuits, and then after because maturity is all about, like as humans with our frontal cortex that develop, it's all about shutting down impulses. And that's part of like getting older too, because when you are getting older too, a lot of those old impulses come out again. They're no longer subdued when we reach, older age. So kind of the same principle. And I'm talking about a lot of things. I'm gonna skip this. And you guys, of course, I have a model that I put together in the book. For you maximize it for a relationship to be successful out there. You got to maximize your own value, find somebody that's compatible, be faithful, forgive, take care of yourself, be healthy, work your butt off. Right, no matter what you do, be grateful for everything you do, or try at it, and have a shared purpose with your partner. And there's us. So, okay. What do we got? Yes, sir. I got 8 minutes for questions.
Experience. You experience more of the other side. And you get to know more often than not what you like and dislike, or what they like and they dislike. I don't see that up there as one of the compatibility. If you make it a point to get to know women, and I'm not saying you're going out with it or you're looking for a partner, but you get to know women. Maybe you grew up with a sister.
Okay.
That helps, I think, you determine your own compatibility.
If you have good interpersonal skills, and you have all these other experiences, like what women want, you have a sister.
The more you're in, and you work beside them. Now we work more often with women, so we know what women want out of the workforce. Now, if you, like I say, if you grew up with a sister, you understand more about how they think and how their life takes shape, whether it's cool. But that's what I think, one of the compatibility factors is the issue of truth. You know, you marry the first woman you ever had feelings for, you're not gonna really know. You know, a lot of those characteristics, you may have some, but you're not gonna know what to look for.
There's a lot of luck involved also,
Yeah.
right? Especially, I mean, you know, how I was when I met I've known my wife for a long time, but when I got married at 30, I'm 52 now. I'm very different. I mean, so is she, but you know, it could have gone many ways.
But did you have girlfriends growing up where you got to know other women and knew
Of
what
course.
they liked? You just, yeah.
Of course, I appreciate,
That's-
I like how you think, but that was not in the literature. You know, I was not coming up with my own ideas, but seeing what the literature talked about of what made it, when they, you know, they're doing an autopsy about what makes people most satisfied and staying together the longest. But that's important experience.
What about, financial, stewardship? I've heard that, you know, a couple that have, you know, one's a saver and the other's a spender. Is that not a major issue for a long-term relationship?
It is. I mean, you know, financial problems can be a killer, and partner can be a major killer in relationships. Right? You talk to divorce attorneys, and they'll say a lot of it had to do with financial agreements. And people do have to be. I mean, they have to be in fiscal agreement, but a lot of that too is that dynamic of having, you know, being able to have resources and just kind of seeing the world the same way. So I think based on the I mean, when we're talking what divorce attorneys say and like the scientific literature, I think that the financial part is part, there's like all these overlaps of other traits that kind of cover that. We see the world the same way. We're both savers. If you have two spenders, they're probably gonna get divorced, right? Because that's just the way there's gonna be other problems later.
So great presentation. Do you feel a lot of it's generational? Where, you know, I talked to my mom and some of her peers, they stay together thick and thin no matter what, even if they hated the other person, where now people are ready to run immediately. And then just give me your opinion on reverse psychology. Because studying people, a lot of times it seems like people want what they can't have, get it, and don't want it. So I appreciate that.
Sure. So, I mean, first of all, you want what you can have. That's based on scarcity, right? I mean, we're wired to, you know, to stock up on things, or quickly I need to get something before it goes away. So, I mean, a lot of that is about the scarcity principle. Generational. So,
Divorce rates higher amongst younger.
it is true. However, some of the, you know, one of the highest divorcing cohort are like now are retirees, people that are 65 and 70. So those baby boomers are getting divorced now because you know, well, they're able to, and they've been sticking out a relationship for so long that they were not happy about. So you're right, there are some generational reasons. But you know, I mean, it's unfortunate, but yes, there are generational influence.
I'll tell you what, I think we all learned a little bit something today from Dr. Justin Lorenzo, the traits and characteristics that you can incorporate into your own winning behavior. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving him a round of applause. Justin, as a token of our appreciation and what Rotary West Jacksonville and what Rotary International stand for, we are also in the business of relationships and building strong membership bases, not just here locally, but around the world. On behalf of West Jacksonville and our membership base here, we'd like to present you with this commemorative Rotary International coin as for your guest speaking appearance today. And you did a wonderful job. Justin Lorenzo, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the two book titles for Dr. Thornton, we'll give you the appropriate title, How Not to Ruin Your Life by Dr. Justin Lorenzo. That'll be reserved for you. And the book title with the more explicit headline will reserve for Thad Lombard. Just having a little bit of fun and humor, as Dr. Lorenzo pointed out. Great presentation. I'd like for you guys to join me from the Commonwealth to the Yacht Club to Timaquana Country Club. Our banquet manager, Tiffany, and her service staff, they do an incredible job here at Timaquana Country Club. Let's give them a round of applause as well. Today's assignment roster brought to you by our Sergeant at Arms, Katie Quackenbush. Well done, Katie. Well done. Ed Pratt Daniels, thank you for blessing the meeting today. Big Mike for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We appreciate you very much. And what a wonderful job of our welcoming committee with Chris Champine, Carl Dawson, and Emily Butler. You guys welcomed our members with passion and enthusiasm. We appreciate that very much as well. Jimmy Kelly, we continue to pray for you and your family. Thank you for sharing the Family of Rotary report. We got no meeting next week in remembrance for Memorial Day, an action-packed month of June as we go through the transition period. It's going to be a very smooth transition between President Tim Johnson and myself. But before that happens, Tiffany Irvin, Nat Ford, Founders Day remembrance and celebration is going to be very special. And of course, the President's Party to cap off an exciting Rotary year as we embark on a new one. I'm going to ask a very good friend of mine who exhibits the values of the four-way test. He's going to be part of my Rotary cabinet in the future. William Milne is going to be joining us for leading the club in the four-way test. I'd like to bestow that honor upon William. Please stand.
Four-way test, the things we think, say, and do. First.
Is it a truth? The beneficial. They'll give well better friendships. Beneficial to all concerned.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Special thanks to Dr. Justin Dorenzo. Wonderful presentation. Let's continue to get out there, make friendships, look out for each other, and make some magic in the moment as well. Thank you, everybody.